Good morning, folks. John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru. And today, on April 2nd, I'm going to bring up an article that was actually published in February, early February of 2020. And it's by an organization called Home Healthcare News. Now, the article is only as valid and true as the reporting is. So I'm going to assume it's reporting accurately because I've heard similar stories, maybe not to this extent, on my own from therapists that have shared with me some of the shenanigans that have gone on in their home health organizations since PDGM hit. So here is a quote, a paragraph from this article. Another concern has surfaced. So the first concern was cutting hours and being told that therapy was not needed when the doctor ordered it. But here's the second concern. Another concern that has surfaced. Some therapists have been asked to do things they believe to be outside their scope of practice or not allowed under state law. So when you do things outside your scope, you are subject to law. It's like breaking any law. If you steal something, well, the law states that you shall not steal. Therefore, if you steal something, you are outside the law, and therefore you're going to be punished for that, and rightly so. So anyway, there are a lot of therapists that have reported, and this is to the AOTA and ASHA, that they were being asked to do things outside their scope. And one thing that they were asked to do is to just ignore doctor's orders. Can't do that. That's not legal. So anyway, that was a concern, being asked to do things outside their scope. And it goes on. For example, some speech and language pathologists have been asked to do wound care when inappropriate. Well, no kidding. So back in the day when I was working for a large rehab company doing basically clinical teaching, I was involved in a lot of wound care, and I would do trainings related to wound care. And when you did wound care as a therapist, it was an expectation that not only did you graduate, obviously, from an accredited school, but you went through specialized training with our organization to make sure you actually had skill and competence. There are words we've talked about in the past that relate to doing things and billing for it, and that's called medical necessity. So medical necessity is defined as care that is of such complexity that only you can safely and effectively do it. So the question would be, how can a speech language pathologist safely and effectively do wound care? They don't. They don't have the training. They don't have the skill set. Could they learn it? Well, anybody could learn it with enough time and practice and hard work, but it's not in their scope. And they certainly wouldn't have the underlying training to safely and effectively do it. So this is an egregious abuse by these organizations. And so I want to just talk to you, therapists, who may be in a situation where you're being asked to do things that you know are outside your scope of practice. In that case, that's a situation where you need to be out. Because organizations that do that will likely at some point be found out, and you're going to be taken down with them. And if you want a little wake-up call, type in on Google like occupational therapists, speech therapists, physical therapists who lost their license. And there are generally by state a list of all the therapists that lost their license or have had license suspended for various infractions. And it's generally, well, I don't think I saw any examples, it's always going to be a scope of practice issue. So make sure you stay within your scope. And if you have a question, please contact your state practice act. Please call the state board for your practice act and ask them very pointed questions. I'm being asked to do this. Is that okay? And then, of course, you should be mindful of your State Practice Act and know what it says, because if you don't, you may be outside the law and you don't even know it. Anyway, John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru, just bringing up a little tidbit. Hope you're staying healthy and safe during this time. Take care and God bless.